You wanna play games, motherfucker?
What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Good Real Hunting, where we hunt for the good reels so you don't have to. Spiral from the Book of Saul just came out last week, and it is time for us to do a spoiler-filled discussion review for it. So we're going to do that. We're a few days later than we would have expected. We had some hiccups, and I was out of town, so we couldn't watch it until yesterday. So I watched it. We're ready to review it. Brett's seen it once, so we're ready to rock right into this thing. And we're going to go all spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, be sure to stop this video, watch the movie, and then come back after you've seen it and go from there. But I'm excited to get into this thing. It's an interesting entry into this franchise, so I'm ready to just tackle it with you gents. How are you guys doing today?
And before you ask us how we're doing, what is above me?
What is above Brett right now? That's a good question. Okay, so
the ceiling.
If you haven't seen the rest of our Saul reviews, we're going to put a link for those right over Brett's head. We just finished the franchise, got wrapped up with Jigsaw last week, and we're going to have a ranking coming up here really soon of the full franchise. So be sure to check those out and as well. And yeah, let's get into this thing, man.
Yeah, I am so ready. So first off, I'm doing pretty good. Chris, how are you doing, bud?
I feel great. Yeah, actually, you know what? I feel good about today. I've had the day off, but with regard to this movie, I feel a lot like Samuel L. Jackson there at the end, just like I'm, suspended midair, being drained of all the blood in my body. So I feel
dude, let's just admit it. You just pissed off that you couldn't grow that mustache.
Mustachio, a question.
Yeah, I'm a little upset about that. Yeah.
All right, but before I get you even more depressed, we gotta get you in that good mood before you bleed out. In that case, let's talk about some of the positives of this movie. So, gents, I'm just curious, what did you all like about this movie?
I liked one of my favorite, the best things about this movie, in my opinion, is the new feel that it provides. It does something fresh with the franchise that hasn't been done at any point in the franchise, really. I mean, obviously, the production value is way up compared to most of the movies in this franchise, with the exception of maybe Jigsaw that came out. It's got a new feel. It feels fresh for once. And they did a good job of detaching from the old movies while providing something new, but still staying related enough to where you can consider it a part of this franchise. And it makes sense. It flows. So I think they did a really good job with that. If just everything, how they changed. I know this might be a little divisive, but everything that they've changed, as far as bringing a new voice in, doing away with the old puppet and all that stuff, I really dig it because, we've seen 8 movies with the old stuff. Let's see something new at this point. And I think with everything they did in this movie, you're able to you're going to be able to build off of that if you wanted to. And if this movie does well enough, there's enough there. There's a new framework to build onto and make more movies from. And it's just, at the end of the day, I think it's fresh enough to do that.
Hell yeah. I'm the same way with Brad here. Like, it definitely does feel fresh. And I love that. And a lot of people are pissed off about like the new voice and like the pig being on the TV and all that. I actually like it because, again, we're doing something different, and that's something like what like 9 films into this franchise. You got to switch it up. You got to make it unique where it stands alone. Kind of like how what Jigsaw tried to do, but I feel like they missed the mark on it. This one actually landed on the mark in that particular department. Like in that era, not era.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. So like, I really like that. I love the pig look, and as slowly I'm liking the voice. Hello, detective. Kind of like sounds like Bill, like Ben Stein, or that guy I'm talking about. It's like Bueller,
Kylo Ren,
or something like that. Yeah, like even Kylo Ren. He's a good fellow. But yeah, at the end of the day, I do like. Shut up. You know what, Chris? How about you stop laughing?
I'm sorry, man.
How about you go with positive?
I'm sorry, man. I'm just sitting here thinking about what it could have been like if instead of Tobin Bell, Ben Stein was cast as Jigsaw at the beginning. Like, Hello there. I'd like to
Play a
play a
game.
game.
Oh my god! If you only hear
Yeah.
Chris Snyder's impression of Bill, you would fucking lose. You would lose it.
Oh man, that's awesome. I liked a lot of those. I won't retread. Are you done, Bert? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you there.
I'm good. I just want to hear your input.
No, man, I agree on a lot of those points. I think it was nice to see it go in a different direction. I thought it did a good job of creating the atmosphere. I loved that. Keeping with the trend of the old ones, it doesn't really, it never mentions exactly what city they're in, or anything like that. So it could really be anywhere. And I like the atmosphere that creates almost like an 80s style, like when they're in the interior shots of the precinct and stuff like that. It almost feels like an 80s vibe or something like that, with the fans, rolling around in there and things. And I really dug that part of it. Thought Chris Rock was a solid performance. Samuel L. Jackson is, he's not going to give a bad performance. So
I'm going to take this gun and I'm going to shoot this motherfucker.
That was my favorite line of the whole movie. Who was it? Was it you? Yeah, that was my favorite bit of the whole thing. But
you want to play games, motherfucker?
But
we'll
it
play
was
games.
Yeah, so I definitely give it credit for that, and I will second what Brad said. It was nice to see. You can only fucking resurrect Jigsaw so many different times, before you have to kind of veer off in a new direction. And it was really nice, I thought, to see like this story take the center stage and the gore just kind of serve the story other than the other way around. You know what I mean? And I like that about it. But it just wasn't there for me. I mean, I enjoyed those aspects of it. The movie as a whole just wasn't there for me.
Oh yeah.
I feel you on that. I think just a comparison. If you want to take a story in a new direction in the 9th movie in a franchise, you compare this to Friday the 13th. The new direction they decided to go was possessing Jason and blowing him up and hearts, people eating hearts and shaving people on tables and all kinds of weird shit. I think this is a much more fresh angle to take it as a 9th movie in a franchise. And again, like you said, Brett, it really does. Obviously, Jigsaw could have gone without ever been made. Like, we don't miss that. But I think this brings enough new to the franchise to where it was actually worth being made at the end of the day. So, but yeah, like you said, Chris, another one of my favorite things about this thing is just the focus of the story. And I really actually like the first. I know some people kind of criticize the first half of this movie with, being paced a little poorly, but I actually really liked the first half of it. I was most into it, honestly, at that point when we're really trying to get to know Chris Rock's character of Zeke Banks a little bit and getting into the backstory of things and just kind of following the storyline, this investigative thriller, if you will. I really enjoyed all that as a nice change of pace to the franchise. I know I've mentioned a couple times in the previous reviews that I think they could have done, like I think with Saw 5 and then Jigsaw specifically, they could have done less traps and focused more on the stories, and it would have benefited those movies. And this movie, I think, did that pretty well.
Yeah, it actually really did. And speaking of traps too, I actually enjoyed the traps. A lot of people I've been hearing say they didn't like the traps quite as much. I actually enjoyed it, especially that first one, the opening one. Dude, that made me cringe.
Yeah, that was the worst one for me. I definitely had the most like physical response to that one. I was definitely squirming a little bit there at the very first one. Yeah.
Yeah, that one and freaking like the fingers like being pulled off, and that's the thing with these traps too. These traps actually have meaning, like with the tongue ripping out, like he was speaking lies. The fingers not like pulling the trigger on a defenseless, innocent bystander. Like, that's why I like the battle too. I like when traps have meaning. First, it's just to do it, just to say, "Oh, look, this is how deadly and badass this trap is." I'm like, but what's the point of it? And then I just like how they actually have a point to the traps in this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like that part of it. The only thing I didn't like is it did seem like, and I can't remember. I want to call back to one of the later Saw sequels, but there's one of those where it was, it's like, well, the traps are unwinnable. You know what I mean? That's when they knew it was like a copycat or whatever. Kind of felt similar in this one, like with the guy and the fingers and all that, and some of the traps felt unwinnable in my mind, and Jigsaw, like the first couple, at least the first 4 that I can recall, were all about like given the people, really enough time to make that decision, and this one seems like a lot of the traps were unwinnable.
That's true. The finger one, he did do everything he planned on doing there, but he still died. He still freaking got it. And yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, but the glass shard shooting out,
that one was badass.
That was my favorite
Oh, yeah.
part of the movie.
Oh, it definitely was. That one was fucking, that was awesome.
That was creative.
There again, though, that guy only got like maybe 4 or 5 bottles, in his back before he was fucking, out of it. And how long is it really going to take someone to figure out, like, oh shit, the key's in the trash can, right? I mean,
yeah, he didn't have much of a chance. But that was badass when Chris Rock, he's kind of figuring out what's going on here. He's like, oh shit. And it starts fucking crushing bottles up and like just blowing glass. Like that was pretty dope. That was actually a fantastic trap. Yeah.
Can you imagine fucking being out there though, dude? God.
Just freaking I couldn't. It was very uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, definitely. That poor fucking guy too, man. It's just like
yeah, even though he deserved it.
Yeah, I mean a lot of these did
that is a very good point, Brett. Wow. That escalated quickly.
I'm just saying, like, I'll be honest with you, just all the office, like the dirty cop officer deserved it.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly, for sure. I think you're right. I mean, and the same can be said through most of the franchise. I mean, I think except for maybe fucking Rig in the 4th one where he just goes through doors too fast. The rest of them, they all have their own little problems and stuff, but. I thought that was dope. It was cool. Good effects overall. The effects in general, I enjoyed them. I thought they had a fresh enough feel to them. They didn't feel like the old traps. There was a sense of realism to the traps. I thought for the most part, it was a little bit. They were shot a little bit darker. You couldn't see exactly what was going on. I could buy that this guy who's dedicated his life to this apparently could put these traps together. It's not like Hoffman all of a sudden a detective can build this freaking pendulum thing with all these intricate designs and everything. Like I could buy these traps. So yeah, I think overall they were solid, man. I enjoyed them. They were memorable.
Yeah, and I liked all the traps as well. There was a couple at the very beginning, and I know I'm sure that was part of the production design for it to be like very disorienting, like when the camera work and the cuts with the zooms and the all those things in there. But it kind of took me out of it just a little bit. Like the camera was moving so quick, like the cuts were so fast. It took away from it just a little bit, just from like, I guess the feeling of it, or something like that. The atmosphere of that particular part, not necessarily the trap itself, but just that little part right there. The only one that I really had an issue with was the captain or whatever. It's too far of a reach really for me to think that dude fucking went to the basement and set up a whole wax trap and all that, and not a single person was going to be like, hey Cap, you care if I get in there and get the files on case 47? I gotta be in court in like going on 35 minutes now. Is that what that sounded like?
Well, that's what Garza sounded like when all that hot wax pulled on her
face. Yeah. So I thought you were trying to tell me that I had audio issues going on, but yeah, that's absolutely. No. 100%. Yeah, that's kind of how she's saying. That's the only one. And I love the trap. Just it was kind of a pretty big stretch for me to think that dude just went down there and set up shop and got all that shit going.
I agree.
But outside of that, yeah, I thought they were really cool. The fingers one was really cool. Pretty fucking elaborate with him having to bite down and all that and everything. But very cool.
Yeah.
The biggest thing you kind of touched on it briefly was Chris Rock's performance. I really enjoyed his performance in the movie, but more importantly, I think the character of Zeke Banks in general, I thought was really good. I enjoy. It's one of my favorite probably characters of the franchise now. Just seeing him in this one movie, he's got some comedy to him, obviously from Chris Rock, and just he's kind of able to draw you in a little bit. And I think he did a really good job with that. And it's interesting to see your protagonist in a Saw movie be a genuine good guy and not have any kind of skeletons in the closet or not being somebody that's kind of a shithead or anything like that. It's an interesting new take. Yeah, or the killer, exactly. It's an interesting new take for the franchise to see the guy going through the traps is actually a victim in this, and not somebody necessarily being tested, if you know what I mean. So so I thought that was really cool. That was an interesting new spin, and it was cool to have a protagonist that you can actually root for once.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed the Samuel L. Jackson, the dynamic between those two. Not just the actors, but the characters. There being that dynamic there with his father. He's kind of always living in his shadow. Those kinds of things, and yeah. So
what about that?
I definitely think that's great.
Sick damn stash though that Samuel L. was rocking out for us there.
He was, man.
And those.
I knew he was gonna fuck this up. I love it, dude. I love Samuel L. Jackson is probably got to be one of my top 5 actors, man. He doesn't get enough quality work because I feel like people just cast him as Samuel L. Jackson. You know what I mean?
He plays the same character every time. I watched Snakes on a Plane the other day, and I'm like, this is the same characters as his role in Spiral. He's the exact same person. He just freaking screams, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it, but I mean I thought he had a little bit more to chew on in Spiral, which is kind of nice. But I definitely think that he gets cast so much just to play Samuel L. Jackson, that he doesn't get a lot of meatier roles. So I thought he was good here, better than usual.
And,
I thought he was solid.
Yeah, and I'll touch on what Brad said. I absolutely love the Detective Banks character. That is a positive. But in the negative section, I'll talk about Chris Rock.
Oh no! Wow. Don't do that to Christopher. You did a good job.
I love the Banks character. I just didn't. I felt. We'll get to the negative part on that. So
we're pretty much already there, buddy.
All right, let's go ahead.
Before that, actually, no, not yet, because my last positive was I did like the third act, those last 10 minutes.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, which again, that'll be a part of that too. Will be in the negative section as well, because I know Brad's going to go there. I can't point towards shit, but yeah, I really liked it. It does set up for the next Saw movies 10 and 11, and so. Yeah, it's just as crazy with Samuel Jackson. It kind of foreshadows exactly what the ultimate trap was, with the pig in that junkyard doing this. It actually come to fruition like that, but not in a good way. Samuel Jackson fucking got shot all over the damn place.
It's a cool scene too with the silhouette.
The visuals on that scene were cool.
Yeah,
with
the lights, the fish oils. Yeah. No, the visuals. You got the visuals with all the beams coming in and the silhouette. I thought that was shot pretty well overall.
Oh yeah, that trap did not go the way I thought that was going to go. I didn't know it was going to go the whole blood draining route, which to me that's freaking suffering right there.
I'm feeling woozy over here.
Yeah, that would have been great. He's like, I'm feeling woozy, motherfucker. If it would have been something, he would have said something like that. Would have been much better. I feel like. Let's be serious though. This is the other problem that I had there, which is that much blood loss, he could not even attain consciousness. He would be unconscious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because those jars were halfway. So yeah, he was point there.
He was essentially out of blood. I mean, he would have been blue by the time that he walked in there. Just almost
essentially bled out entirely at that point. And
yeah,
maybe, right.
Maybe just enough to maintain a fucking pulse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. So, any more positives, gentlemen?
I think we're on to the negatives, man.
All right, let's go to the negatives. I feel like Chris Rock was over the top.
God, don't do that to me, man.
Sorry, the first act, I was never more nervous about a movie in a while. Just from that first act alone with Chris Rock, with that Detective Banks character. I'm like, oh shit, this is going to go south if they continue this dialogue. Because I didn't like the dialogue for a lot of the movie either.
I didn't like the dialogue for the entire movie. I actually thought that Chris Rock was doing the best. I don't think that it was his acting. And I had that kind of sentiment too in the first 15 minutes. Was like, man, he's really not selling this. And then I realized it was every character. It was just the dialogue. And I was like, he's doing the best that he can. And he's really the only person that's kind of upping, upping the game a little bit
Mhm.
with his delivery and stuff like that. So I felt like it was just the dialogue the writing was pretty poor in my opinion.
Yeah, in a way, but like you know how Chris Rock likes to get loud, like all of a sudden it's just to deliver his particular line and all that. I just felt like he really went over the top at times, and it distracted me. But once the second and third act hit, I didn't have a problem with Chris Rock. It was just mainly that first act where I had a problem with him.
There were a couple of parts that I can remember where he was a little bit over the top, like with some crazy eyes that he was doing when he was talking to the captain at one point. Like, oh yeah, but
Oh, yeah,
overall,
crazy eye. Yeah, here we go. Crazy eyes, squinty eyes, crazy eyes, squint.
overall, I thought he did a solid job. I enjoyed his
Yeah, I mean
performance
for primarily dramatic work, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
he's not done much other than much in the way of dramatic work outside of Fargo. So it's like, I thought he handled it pretty well.
I liked it, man. I want to see more of his progression and whatnot, honestly. But yeah, I mean, it was good.
Yeah, I guess that's just me then. But I think something that we can easily probably agree on, Chris. I'm not so sure about you, but Brad, I think we talked about it beforehand. So damn predictable.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead, Brad. I'm sorry.
No, that's all I was
You
gonna say,
jump
just so
right in. I was
predictable.
just agreeing. You go ahead. If you go ahead and elaborate there,
No,
Christoph.
man. I just had strong feelings about this because I know you guys had like a conversation before you even went to go see it, but I knew like halfway through the movie, that was probably my biggest qualm with the entire movie was the whole time I was thinking, no matter how much I hate everything else, or not hate, but whatever problems I have with everything else, if the deception at the end, like the big twist, the smoking gun, if it's worth it, then I can probably forgive everything else. And then when he walks into that room, I was like, God damn it, and that's when I knew it all fell
Yeah, the
apart.
reveal was
Fuck.
lazy.
I know, man. I was like, God damn it, they're really gonna go this route. And
Like they could have at least put him in the pig outfit if he slowly turns around, like all pig outfit and everything, get that good shot. And then he could have done that. But no, he didn't even fucking do that.
He could have just walked into the room and it would have been a family of pigs, and of actual pigs, and I would have been like, "Holy shit, dude! I fucking love this. This is genuine. This is original." I'm kidding, of course, but I mean, it still would have been like a bigger twist. Because honestly, when I was watching the movie, there's two mentions of Charlie that I caught on to, because that's how all the Saw movies, you have to really pay attention to the dialogue, as shitty as as it might be. There's going to be some kind of clue in there, and I knew when those motherfuckers said Charlie in there, I was like, "This is it, dude. It's got to be."
Yeah. Where I figured it out was after the Garza trap. That's when I pieced everything together, which I'm not the smartest movie viewer in the world, so it takes me a little bit longer than the average person to kind of figure out the big twist. So I was actually quite proud of myself on that one.
Fuck yeah, dude.
To figure it out. But I bet most people figured it out as at that scene where they said William got like freaking deskinned.
Yeah, because it didn't show the trap, right? There was no nuance there with that, because it just it shows his arm showing up as soon as he opens the box, and we skip the trap entirely, and then we see his box there with Charlie. I'm like, oh, it's Charlie for sure, because we didn't see the trap. I know it tried to kind of subvert those expectations by earlier in the movie. It edited a trap in a weird way where it kind of shows the beginning of a trap and it cuts away to where they find the pieces, and then it goes back.
Those the finger ones,
yeah.
They kind of did that.
I wasn't a fan of that.
Well, they kind of did that earlier, and I think it was just to kind of play you off when this one happened too, that they were kind of doing the same thing. You see the arm, you're like, oh, we haven't seen the trap. What the fuck? And then you remember, well, earlier we didn't see the trap either before we found the parts. So, but then it shows the trap, but it doesn't show your boy there. It just shows skin getting ripped off.
Yeah, it never alludes to his experience or anything, because the finger guy, it does cut away from it, and then after he gets the sheet around his face, and then it cuts back to his experience with it. You know what I mean? Later on.
Yeah,
he never got that. And to be fair, this is the exact point of the movie where I had to go piss, so I missed the entire bit of him being like when I came back, my wife was like, his fucking partner's dead, dude. All this, and I was like, what? And then, and I think there was even like a third time where it alluded to him. Yeah, when he goes in there and he's helping his buddy who's getting, plastered with the glass bits. He has like another flashback or something right there. And I knew there again, he's like Charlie, something, and I was like, God damn, it's just too convenient.
Yeah, totally. Wasn't much of a surprise at the end of the day, and that was unfortunate. We did we ranked all the twist endings in the Saw franchise here for this last lunch club, and this one came in pretty low at the end of the day. I think it was number 7 out of 9, just because there wasn't much there. The concept was cool of it, but I just don't think they did enough in the story to really make it earned.
Well, they didn't deliver the holy shit factor that the Saw franchise is known for doing.
Yeah, I mean, when they walk into, they even play the fucking song, the do. There's a couple of times where they hint at that song, but I don't think like when he walks in there, you know what I mean, and like Max Mingala's character turns around or whatever, I don't think they even play the song. He's just like, hey.
Well, shit. Do you know what I just thought of? What they could have done is they could have kept him in the pig outfit doing the "Hello, Detective Banks. This is your final game." And then you play the final game and all that, and as the pig is getting in the elevator, that's where you could have taken off the mask and then do the whole.
Yeah.
To me, that's a lot better than what they did.
Now, I will say it added an interesting dynamic, okay? Because we get this reveal at the end, and usually it's like, oh, here's the reveal. You're fucking dead. Bye. But this one's like, oh, here's the reveal. Do you want to join me in this? Like it was all recruitment is what it was at the end of the day. So I did think that was kind of an interesting, probably the most interesting dynamic of this whole thing was the fact that Banks wasn't actually supposed to die at any point. He was not a victim of this game. He was trying to be recruited by this guy. So I thought that was probably the more, to me, seeing this, I wasn't surprised as much as of who was doing it, but the fact that it was a recruitment and not a way to kill Banks, I thought that was kind of interesting. So I did kind of like that aspect of it.
Yeah, and I can respect that. And I guess, we probably should have put that on the positives. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that new dynamic there was a new way to go. And, like we were talking about, it's, focuses on the story and everything. So I think all that kind of goes hand in hand. But at the same time, that's kind of, as far as Saw is concerned, I mean, that's kind of what made it. I mean, that's your bread and butter is like the big reveal
definitely
at the end, right? But it's just out of curiosity, and you guys can even cut this part out. What two are worse than this one? Jigsaw for sure.
Jigsaw in part 7. Because of the weight, it's Dr. Gordon being the accomplice
3D,
of
Jigsaw 3D.
Yeah.
Never saw it.
And yeah, it wasn't the twist that was bad, but it's the way they did it in the movie. It was pretty poor, very poor.
Oh, so damn poor. It was an injustice.
Yeah.
Yeah, rock and roll. All right, yeah, you guys can cut that part out. So I just wanted to know. I was like, I have to know, man. Too much curiosity.
Oh no, you're good, man. But any more negatives?
There's a couple things I wanted to mention. Obviously, I'll just kind of skim over. The acting wasn't good for the most part. Like the performances weren't that great. Aside from, I thought Chris Rock was probably the best and Samuel L. The rest of them, But I didn't care for really anybody except for Chris Rock. I do respect them for making us care about Chris Rock, but it would have been cool to see. I really would have liked to see more dynamic between him and Samuel L. in this thing, because I didn't expect Samuel L. to be in this thing a lot, but then at the end we find out how big of a part his character is in this, and like how he's like the pinnacle of the movie, like the final trap essentially. And so it would have been nice to see a little bit more dynamic between them in that to kind of build his character up a little bit more, I think. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I think it would have worked out better if you would have had him. Yeah. He had more of that in there.
That's a really good point, because I thought going in that at one point Samuel Jackson and Chris Rock were going to work together like father and son, and then they were going to get separated and get stuck in their respective traps. So, yeah, I did expect that. So I was disappointed. I easily could have used a lot more of those two dynamics working together.
Well, I think, and let me add on to what I just said, and just because this kind of hit my mind, but I was like, I think it would have been cool to see, obviously, like they have a kind of almost an estranged relationship at this point. Like Chris Rock they haven't had a meal together in 12 months. And, and so they haven't been hanging out or whatever. But then like at the end of the day, like, then Samuel kind of disappears for a while, and then we find out he's this piece of shit at the end of the movie. So there really wasn't anything for us to kind of connect to him with at that point. I would have liked to see maybe the relationship be a little bit, his character in general being a little bit more conflicted, to where you're like, oh shit, he's a piece of shit, but no, we don't want him to die at the same time. Like, just a little bit more to kind of draw you into him.
Yeah, they tried to do that towards the end, but I felt like it didn't it didn't land very well. But like they at least tried to do that, but I didn't feel like it landed.
Yeah, I just think a little bit more backstory would have done that for them.
Exactly, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I'll echo that same sentiment. Where if you're not gonna care about the other characters that are gonna die, then you should at least spend more time with your two leads. That basically the entire story, the whole catharsis at the end really hinges on their relationship. And I mean, I thought they did an okay job. Like at the end of it, I genuinely was like, I really hope that Samuel L. Jackson survives, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, yeah, that definitely could have been something that was explored a little bit deeper in this one, especially because the other people that die and really, you just don't give a fuck about them at all. Really.
No, you don't.
Yeah, well, that's another thing I was going to add. Bert, do you care? Do you have anything to say on that specific?
No, just to go touch what Chris said about that, like the dynamic between Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Rock. They're like your two biggest, well-known actors in the movie too, and they help marketed the movie alone. So you got to give us more of that, or you're going to disappoint all those fans that you brought in.
Totally, yeah. I think so. Kind of along those same lines, I think my biggest negative is this is the total lack of nuance that this thing has with the whole essentially the whole plot of the movie, right? Now I will give them props for doing this, exploring this police misconduct storyline without feeling political. It never at any point felt political or anything.
No,
like
me
that.
neither.
So I respect that. It never went that way, but the over the topness of some of these police misconduct situations was a little bit ridiculous to me, like straight up blowing people away for absolutely no reason. And then the fact that I think it could have used a little bit more nuance in that story to where you can see, I don't know, where there's a little bit more layers to it. It's it's straight up freaking, this guy blows a dude away, this cop turns him in, and everybody fucking is like, oh yeah, fuck this guy, which I don't think that's, I think you could have put it a little bit, maybe he fucking kills his dad. I know you had to actually kill somebody. Maybe he kills his dad. Maybe he's driving around, he runs his ass over and he's drunk or something, a little bit nuanced, something kind of oh, it was a fucking accident. But when you straight blow somebody away, I think you're going to get a little bit more support than what Chris Rock got here in this. And same thing with the other guy, the shoehorned in the scene where he blows the other guy away for flipping him off. And that was just kind of brushed over. One dude they sent to jail, but the other guy, they literally have video of him blowing him away and he's still a detective. It's a little bit over the top at times with that storyline. So I think it really could have benefited from a little bit of nuance with all that and been a little bit more creative in the way that it set these guys out to be bad guys, and with the whole department turning on Chris Rock.
Right.
Yeah, and see, I will echo that again. And I don't think that it necessarily meant to be. I guess it's just the times that we live in where it's really hard. It was really hard for me to view it and not feel like it had some sort of political agenda, because it was it just seems like that's the whole crux, of the movie. Even when the guy walks in and he's like, "Let me see that gun on the left over there," and they hand him the gun, and he's like, "The police department thanks you," and he turns around and fucking walks out. It's this fucking guy, and then he blows the guy away, and the other one he's like, I need help, back up, back up. I'm fucking 3 blocks away, and he's like, what is this? Fuck him, we don't need to help him, that's I want to shoot this motherfucker, that's the Chris Rock or the Sam Jackson thing right there, man. We'll fucking love that. But
we're also we're that was good. That was awesome. I think you could have written all that stuff in a little bit better to make it a little bit more creative and a little bit more kind of not so black and white in the way that it was presented. And
definitely. And it wasn't. It really didn't even have anything. Of course, in my opinion, it didn't really have anything original to say, anything to add. Even if it did have a political agenda, it didn't have anything original to say.
Right. Yeah.
At least in my opinion. I don't know. We should probably just cut all that bullshit out. We're not political.
But I do like the fact I will give them props for tackling this topic and not making it feel over the top political. And obviously, like, they did a pretty good job with that. I think they made it more. They made it feel more more just with this particular spot. And we've always seen in all the Saw movies, this department's a piece of shit anyway, with the way that obviously Hoffman was a fucking serial killer. But some of the stuff was just a little bit over the top and beyond the realm of belief that, you know, fucking just with the way it all kind of panned out. But at the end of the day, that's it, man.
Any more negatives, gentlemen? I pretty much tackled all my big negatives.
I thought the I don't want to run over on negatives or anything, but I thought the set design, the production, all of that stuff was really great. The cinematography was very questionable in my opinion. That's just me being like kind of you know, coming from a film school background, being just a film junkie. I think there were a lot of shots in there that I was just like, and it could have been also the theater that we viewed this in. I mean, it was stretched paper fucking thin. Okay. I mean, it was stretched out there big time. So there were a couple of shots in there where I felt like this just doesn't really fit the scene. And that's just me being an asshole, but it was like, why are we so zoomed in right now? You know what I mean? This should be like shot in a different way. So that's just me being picky, I suppose. Anyone else feel that way?
Well, I saw it on the same damn screen, so I'm like, the whole time it was fucking zoomed in. Like, damn, you're trying to make a freaking 4x4 into a fucking YouTube thumbnail. Like, just yeah.
Okay, like I did that one edit, and you're like, Brett, don't do that. So
yeah.
I remember
like
that. Oh, dude, yeah, that was bad. I luckily did not have that problem, so I didn't notice anything.
But
that could just be me. I don't know. Like I said, the set and the production were great. There were just some shots.
And you did admit you're an asshole. I got that on tape.
You don't you dare isolate that audio. Never. Don't you dare,
buddy. No, no, I didn't have an issue with it, so I'm sorry that you guys did. Especially at the rave, for crying out loud. That brings back so much memories.
I know. But anyway, yeah, that's it, man. You want to do best trap real quick? And
yeah, I think we've already said best trap already, but let's just quickly go through it. I know we've kept you long for a review. Easily going with the glass shard kill. It was just cool. It was unique. It was different, and it looked like that hurt so bad too. So I'm going with that one.
Same for me.
Oh man, you know what? I would say it's a. I would probably give that. I would probably give that one the edge, but the tongue one for me, man, really got like a really visceral response for me, where I was like, in the beginning, like just the way that it was shot, and everything. God damn it! Excuse me. And so,
is that the tip of your tongue?
That's absolutely right. I was like, oh, I can't fucking get it out. And but that one, for some reason, man, just like when they was like zooming in on it, and you know, they were going and you could like see his teeth, and they had that bitch stretched out, man. And he was like, you know, way out there, and that one had hey, that's what the salmon says. You know that? The salmon can only say woo, woo. And but the tongue one would be up there for me, but I would tend to probably give the edge to the glass shard. So I won't be a party pooper. I'll go with that one.
I was like, the tongue one's easily my second one. So I agree. So you can't go wrong with one of those two.
Hit the old score, Bert, man.
All right. Well, the moment everybody's been waiting for from my end. I've been holding this in a couple of days, but I'm giving this a 3.5 out of 5. Again, they did a very good job making it different, like a standalone within the franchise, but I feel like it did miss the mark on a lot of opportunities. So 3.5 out of 5.
I go with a 3. I think that it was perfectly serviceable. It was It was watchable. When I left the theater, I was really down on it. But after thinking about it for a little while, I mean, it's a perfectly serviceable entry. It was nice to see a change of pace. Just kind of, I'll also echo that, I feel like it just kind of missed the mark a little bit for what I guess my expectations were, what it could have been. Just a lot of missed opportunities there. But overall, very watchable, very serviceable entry. 3.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 3.5 on this. Overall, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good entry, but it had potential to be a better entry. I think it's a 3.5 with the potential of a 4.5, I think, or at least a 4, if some things were cleaned up and the story was written a little bit better. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm disappointed, but only because I think it had room to be better, but I still enjoyed it.
All right, so we got 2 3.5s with the 3. That is actually going to be a good old Average Joe's Gymnasium.
Average Joe's Gymnasium.
Oh, my sweet Jesus.
That's rad.
Ooh.
You got it, buddy.
WHIT.
Huh.
E.
Oh, sweet Jesus. No, I'm just
Fucking
kidding.
Chuck Norris.
Well, damn, there we go. We can't top that. So let's go ahead and close this home. So y'all got one more video left in this review series. We're looking forward to it. So guys, what did you all think about Spiral? Did you have a really good time with this movie, or are you on the other side where you didn't really have a good time? In fact, it was just hours lost. Let us know in that comment section down below. So let's get that discussion rolling.
And if you know us find a good reels, you can do so by finding us on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitter, Snapchat, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever your heart desires elsewhere. We'll put those links in the description down below.
Oh,
Don't tell lies. Keep your tongue.
Damn. Oh my gosh. I'm going to get out here before this spirals out of control.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, this is already spiraled out of control. So guys, be sure to like this video, share, and subscribe. And of course, ring that bell. Well, damn, I can't say Tobin bell, but ring the bell. Ding, ding, ding. So you know when the next video is up and ready.
Game over.